20 degrees of separation is what my dad says when he meets someone he knows at a wedding who's on the other side. It's a saying that means that we all have a connection to each other if we just look 20 ways in one direction. But my own history shows that this isn't always true. In the case of my grandparents, both sets of which were born and grew up in Italy, this could not be more incorrect. This was taken sometime in the 60s. The footage is incredibly old and was recorded on a really old school camera, one that had a shoulder strap and recorded on a literal reel of film. Back in that time, to have a camera like this meant you were pretty wealthy. My mom's parents grew up in small families, who were supposed to cover their heads to avoid a tan, and my grandmother was afforded a wedding dress and a ceremony. This kind of stuff was completely unheard of when they got married. My other grandparents, my dad's parents, lived in much different circumstances. While my mom's came to Canada as a temporary settlement, my dad's came out of necessity. My grandmother had 9 siblings so that they could run the farm, and she got her first pair of shoes when she was 11. To leave her impoverished life, she married my grandfather, who had already immigrated to Canada without having met him first. So, it's a wonder to me that these two very different sets of people, who lived very different lives, would end up in the same place in Canada where my parents would eventually meet. This is my home, Woodbridge. Woodbridge is, as I've now realized, a pretty strange place. It is almost entirely made up of Italian immigrants who have now had children, grandchildren, and in some cases, great-grandchildren. Where I live, everyone makes tomato sauce in their garage in the fall and makes sausage in their basement in the spring. Everyone's grandparents, mine included, don't speak English, and all of their offspring speak Italian. If you take me and look 20 degrees in any direction, you'd only see my Italian friends, neighbors, and colleagues. Although a lot of us are generations away from their home country, like me, media and technology has allowed it to persist. Everyone has a long-distance calling plan. Everyone's home has access to the Italian channels. The remix of We No Speak Americano by Yolanda Be Cool was, by far, the biggest hit Woodbridge had ever seen. When I went to high school, my first non-Catholic school, there were people other than Italians. This was completely new to me. Some of the friends I made followed media the exact same way I did, except in their case it was Bollywood movies and songs. The media we consumed separated us. On one hand, I had been completely, although unintentionally, barred from consuming other cultures. But when I was able to find them, this same phenomenon allowed me to share them with my friends in the same situation and for me to experience them in turn. So you could imagine my shock when I came to Kingston, and the things that made me average back home made me different here. It was worrisome at first, but then I realized that that's the point of Canada, to combine and recreate the things we love in new ways, just as I did in high school, not just to find a better life. My access to digital media back home allowed me to isolate myself from others, but now it had become a tool to empower me to share and learn. And now, in this new place, 20 degrees in any direction can mean an entirely new world of exploration.